So if the hormones of stress arouse the brain and body, and you feel altered for some reason, the stronger the emotion that you feel from the problem or condition in your life, then the more you pay attention to the cause. And if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, then most people are giving the majority of their energy and their power away to the problems and conditions in their life. And that's energy that they could be using to heal. That's energy they could be using to design a new destiny. And so they're not conscious that they do this. But what our research shows is that when people have the ability to lower the volume to the emotions that keep them connected to the reality, to their life, every time they lower the volume to the emotion, they naturally take their attention off that person or problem. And now they begin to weaken the energetic bonds between them and their past, present reality. And when they get to that point where they get beyond it, here it comes. They're now drawing energy back and they're building their own electromagnetic field. And we have the research to show that just in 4 days, by moving into the present moment and working on self-regulating and changing your emotions, you are taking your power back. And that's vital energy that you're going to use to create a new future. When we begin to understand that when we can dissociate from our bodies, from our environment and time, and get beyond everything that's known, and learn how to suppress this neocortex, the mechanism, the seat of the identity of the known self, our connection to everything known in our three-dimensional reality, that when we practice the formula of changing brainwaves, and we begin to disconnect and move into the present moment, then a person is free to think differently. They're beyond the chains of the past, familiar past, or the predictable future. And when they're doing that properly, and they are able to change the way they think and feel, then we should begin to see measurable effects in their life. And so as they begin to have different thoughts that have different frequencies, they begin to send out a different electromagnetic signature. And when they finish their meditations, and they feel like their future has already happened, and the feeling is so familiar, they can connect to the emotion of their future, they spend the rest of their day no longer looking for it. I mean, how could you look for your future if you feel like it's already happened? And when you're looking, you're back to separation. When you're in that emotion, when you're in that vibrational match, now you're connected to the energy of your future. And if you get good at it, and you know how to self-regulate, you should be able to sustain that state of mind and body your entire day, independent of any condition or any person in your outer environment, independent of any traffic or business meeting, independent of any craving for any emotion or habit, and independent of time, the predictable future or the familiar past. And if you're able to do that properly, get ready, because something different is going to show up in your life. It's the law. And when the synchronicity, the coincidence, the opportunity lands in your lap out of nowhere, you'll begin to correlate what you're doing inside of you, what you're practicing, what you're taking the time to do with what's happening outside of you. And you're going to believe more that you're the creator of your life and less of the victim of your life. Are you with me still? Genes that actually build the cellular structures of your cells, the 70 trillion to 120 trillion cells, the backbone of the cell, the scaffolding of the cell, the microtubules, those genes got signaled, and those microtubules are the seat of consciousness according to certain researchers. And it means then when the cell is picking up frequency, the cell is 100 times more sensitive to frequency than the chemistry, and the cell gets a strong vibrational signal, electromagnetic signal. It is that signal then that begins to cause the cell to harmonize and to begin to emit more coherent light and information. And the field of research called information biology says it's not charged molecules that's giving the instructions to the cell. It's the field around the cell that's giving the cell the instructions. That's where the information is. It's in the light of the cell. And when cells have coherent light signatures, it means they're all communicating very well on the same wavelength. And we would call that harmony, health, or balance. and the diminishing of light from a cell, that incoherent signal begins to weaken communication amongst the cells, and now the cells no longer cooperate with each other, and we call that dis-ease. And the cell closes down in survival, because in survival, it's not a time for growth and repair. And we either live in growth and repair, or we live in emergency. And if you're living constantly in emergency, then you don't have any resource sources for growth and repair, and that goes down to a cellular level. And we saw hormones, the genes for pituitary and pancreatic and adrenal balance, were stimulated just in 5 days. So you are, in a sense, your own genetic engineer. And we work in these retreats, and my passion is these week-long retreats, because this is where the miracles happen if you can keep teaching people how to go a little further. Go a little further and apply the formula to the next measure, to the next level. So now we have the evidence that says human beings, common people, can do the uncommon. But also, we have the evidence in our testimony, in our student body, that people have healed themselves of all kinds of chronic health conditions, from stage 4 cancer, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, not 6 times, over and over again. Blind people seeing, deaf people hearing, over and over again. Tumors shrinking and disappearing in the brain, in the lungs, in different parts of the body. MS, Parkinson's disease, lupus, rare genetic disorders, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's syndrome, diverticulitis, food allergies, acid reflux, arrhythmias, heart palpitations, kidney failure, leukemia. We have seen dramatic changes when people all of a sudden begin to speculate what's possible when they change how they think, how they act, and how they feel. And they're changing their personality. And the disease literally exists in the old personality. There's somebody else. By the same means, we have testimony from people in this work that have created new jobs, that have gone from bankruptcy to abundance. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but over and over again. They applied the formula, and they just generated wealth. And that was their passion. And they knew that they couldn't take lack into their future, that that was a story that they had to stop telling. Because as long as they kept telling the story of their past, it got in the way of the story of their future, because they were reaffirming their identity based on the past. And so we have evidence then in our testimony, we have evidence in our 3-dimensional reality of scientific tests that we've done. We've left footprints in the quantum field, information, a memory bank of the quantum where everything exists as a memory. When we do our meditations properly, we get beyond that analytical mind, that critical mind. And it's the conscious mind separated from the conscious mind by the analytical mind. And the subconscious mind is where all those habits, emotional reactions, and unwanted behaviors and hardwired attitudes exist. And if you're in beta brainwave patterns, you're separate from the operating system to change it. So you got to learn how to slow your brainwaves down from beta to alpha. And when you do, now your inner world becomes more real than your outer world, and that voice in your head tends to go away, and you tend to think in imagery, in pictures, in streams of consciousness, kind of like in an imaginary state. How many people are with me? Now you're in the dreaming state, the creative state. Now if your body falls asleep and your mind stays awake, like you did today, very nicely by the way, then all of a sudden you're in theta brainwave patterns, and theta is when your body's resting. When it's resting and almost asleep and you're still awake, that little door, that little window that you can linger around. When you do this properly, the activity in this memory bank of the known self, the identity, what plugs you into 3-dimensional reality, a reflection of everything known. The lights go out in this part of the brain when you're in theta. And theta is a very suggestible state. And suggestibility is your ability to accept, believe, and surrender to information without analyzing it. So if you want to reprogram your autonomic nervous system, you got to open the door. And if you're in beta, you're analyzing and not going anywhere. How many people understand? And you've had the direct experience of that, yes? Yes. And you're almost like you want to go to sleep. And if you can resist the urge to sleep and stay standing up, you're getting very close to the door. Are you with me still? So then, in this state, where you have the ability to sit your body down and not get up and eat, not get up and drink anything, not get up and smell anything, not get up and feel different things and experience different things, that's even less sensory information coming in. Yes or no? But here you go, you sit down to do the work, you sit down to do your meditation, your body's on a program. And it says, all right, it's been 5 minutes, you're busy. You got emails to check, you got a lot of things to do today, you got to shop, you know, you got to take the garbage out, you got a lot to do. And all of a sudden you notice your body in a program like the urge to get up. It wants to get up because it's been getting up like that for the last 20 years. And now you're making it sit like an animal, telling it, stay, I'll feed you, but you got to stay. And now, all of a sudden, you're creating a distinction, a separation between you as your body and you as the governor or the ruler of your body. Different game. Now you're telling the body it's no longer the mind. You're the mind. And when you resist the urge to get up and do something, and you bring your body back down into the present moment, and you execute a will that's greater than that program, that's a victory.